It's going. It's going. There we are. We are live. There we go. Right. Good evening, one and all. Hopefully, you can hear us loud and clear on YouTube. Good to see a few of you already on YouTube. I'm just going to wait for my levels to sort of balance. Say good evening, Ray, host of the In That Number podcast. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, Freddie. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited about it.
Right, I think my levels are good. So that was just a brief pause, such as the YouTube delay. But there we go. We are. I mean, let's start off with a sort of a tradition, then I guess on occasionally on our podcasts, sort of webcast, if you like, on YouTube, etc. Right. Let's kick things off then. Tonight I am drinking this Greens gluten-free golden ale. There it is on on the show from a high street supermarket, Sainsbury's. There are other supermarkets available for other homemade brands. But Ray, what else are you drinking?
I actually am going for a West Country feel, and I am going for a top sale. You see that?
There we go.
By Bayes Brewery, which is in Torbay, Devon. And I've also got a Cornish knocker. There we go. Yeah. And that is the Skinner's Brewery in Truro, Cornwall. So, yeah.
Excellent breweries, and I've had at least one of those before, so definitely refreshing. And one thing to note, in fact, actually, before we get going, both of us are trying to sport some kind of Movember attempt. Ray, you've actually shaved your sort of beard out to kind of highlight this sort of Movember mustache. I'm slacking a little bit, to be honest, guys. So I need to kind of shave it out tonight, tomorrow, so you can see me at the weekend for the Everton game. Hopefully, it will be some sort of pathetic attempt at a top lip hair. But John actually gave us some wax last year, and I'm going to use that to my advantage this year. Hopefully, it grows to a little bit more by the end of the month, come the Arsenal and Watford games by the end of the month. But Ray, in that number. Before we get going, Marina says hello. I think that is Kev's wife.
That is Kev's wife.
Hello, there Marina. How are you? What are your mustache inspirations before we get going?
Well, do you know what? I've never actually grown just the mustache before. So I'm going to have to say, by the end of November, I'm hoping to look like Tom Selleck.
Excellent inspiration, I must say. And do get your comments in for our pathetic sort of attempts at Movember. I'm going to cover my face. I think we'll get away with that. Say hello in the comments. Hello, Lyndon. How are you? Good to see you once again. Get your comments in for anything you want to discuss on Manchester City, the two games last week, and Everton coming up at the weekend. Right, Enoch actually is just straight in with a West Country beer. Most of us in Southampton speak in the West Country accent and derive from farming stock. We are Wurzels in Southampton. You are. Good to see you, Enoch.
You are.
Right, let's get going then. Do get your comments in, anything you want to ask, but we'll get straight to it then. Let's talk about the last game first and foremost then, Ray. Manchester City 2, Southampton 1 in the Premier League. You know, this is also three changes from the Leicester game, and we've seen McCarthy, Stevens, Armstrong kind of convince Ralph from their efforts on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, McCarthy has been knocking on the door for a while. I mean, largely because Gunn's been making a lot of errors and just not been playing well. So absolutely, McCarthy should be starting. Jack Stevens, see, I don't remember the last time that I wished Jack Stevens to be in the starting 11. But, after his midweek, the Carabao Cup game.
Oh.
Yeah, he did a decent job in the Cup, scored a goal as well. So, and I think, with Yoshida not playing great against Leicester, well, none of them did, but I think that's the right decision also. Stuart Armstrong, yes, it's another player that I've wanted, in the starting 11 for a long time now. Me and Kev have both said it on our show. And he's only had like cameos off the bench this season, and it's not been fair on him because he's not been given enough time to, make an impact. Or when he has been playing, he's like we saw on Saturday, he's been deep, and it's just not his natural role. So he's not been able to fulfil his potential in that case. But yeah, I mean, all three of them deserved starters.
I mean, I like Armstrong. He offers something different to, sort of. I mean, to be honest, where Ward-Prowse is at his kind of critics so far this season. Romeu, we know what he does. He collects the ball, does the dirty work, passes it sideways, rarely gets forward into that 18-yard box in the penalty area in attacking positions. And Højbjerg has very much sort of filled in as a utility man so far this season. This is the second time sort of last week he filled in at left wing back. In fact, he played that on Saturday, filling in for sort of Ryan Bertrand, but we've seen him play in that position against Fulham in the Cup earlier this season too.
Yeah, I mean, Højbjerg and Ward-Prowse are kind of like the ultimate players that you need. They would just do everything for their manager, asking to play. I mean, Ward-Prowse has played right back, and Højbjerg's played left back, and he actually did a very good job. He didn't look out of place playing left back. And when I saw the starting lineup and I saw him back there, I thought, because this left back position is driving me mental. We played Danso back there, like Cedric and Ward-Prowse and Højbjerg, and I thought we just need some. What's wrong with Vokins? Why not give him a go? But actually, having said that, Højbjerg did have a very, very good game against City.
I mean, there's a comment actually just coming after your sort of comments just there, Ray. Actually, Andrew comments, I totally agree about McCarthy, Stevens and Armstrong. All deserved their chance to play well. And it's also great to see Gineppo back. I hope he starts on Saturday. I mean,
Gineppo, my football team, so I need him to start.
Well, Gineppo, the super sub, it seems right now, for Saints, coming off, making that sort of 10-minute cameo as well. But, I mean, McCarthy, Stevens, Armstrong, we've been saying this on sort of various different guests so far this season. McCarthy deserves this chance to come back into the first team. But, we'll get to sort of McCarthy's maybe inabilities, sort of mistakes, if you like, later on in the show. But Stevens, scored on Tuesday, great consolation in the Cup, and looked composed, looked assured in the centre of the three on Saturday.
Yeah, and I was actually reading some comments in the week. I can't remember where from, but someone said that if you're asking Stevens to do that job, it's just staying put and just getting your head on it, you're just getting your body on the line, then he's actually quite useful. When you want him to play the ball, or ask him to a little bit more of him, something about him you just don't trust. But against City, the way that the style that we adapted for them, it was perfect for him and Vestergaard.
Yeah, and it was a kind of no-nonsense, organised, committed performance, spirited, resilient, and we frustrated Man City for most of the the afternoon.
It was much, much better, wasn't it? In general, I know it was another loss, but we've got something positive to talk about, and I think Ralph put it perfectly. Like, he was proud of the players. Exactly what everybody wanted to see, and we got a reaction. We were well organised, and we kept our shape, resilient, as you say, and just made it difficult for City. And they were sweating quite a bit. And if you can defend like that against the champions in their own backyard, then you can use that as a template against anybody. So yeah, just such a brilliant performance all round.
It was a performance that made us sort of proud to be kind of Southampton fans. I mean, it is, I've seen sort of negative comments. I say that we are proud of our defeat, but look, I mean, in the circumstances, look, we've come away from this sort of home defeat. I think I need to wash my mouth out every time I say that sort of scoreline, but we've come back up to the Etihad with two sort of kind of passionate sort of results, resilient in defence, putting the foot in, being no nonsense, defending when we need to defend, hoof the ball when we need to hoof the ball, and we sort of tried to make no mistakes. And if we talk about the opener as well, he's sort of one of the most unlikely sources, I suppose, this season. Ward-Prowse with the opener, pouncing on a mistake from Edison after he kind of bounced Armstrong's shot from a long range.
Yeah, it didn't take long either, did it? 13 minutes into the game, that was it. It was a bit of a shock. okay, yes, it was a clanger from Edison, but if you look back at it, you can see that when Armstrong, just as he's taken the shot, Ward-Prowse is on the move. Bang, he's right there, and it was kind of like Ings-like the poaching of it, and Kyle Walker left standing, wasn't expecting it, so yeah, get that and then shut up shop.
I mean, it must have been the sort of tactic from the start. I mean, sort of trying to anticipate the kind of where the direction of the ball is going. I mean, Edison is a fantastic keeper, great distribution, etc. But sometimes maybe vulnerable for that sort of clanger. We may be trying to take advantage of this sort of slick pitch. I think Armstrong's done well. I think some of the commentators have said, look, Armstrong's done a very good sort of attempt at goal where it sort of bounced in front of the goalkeeper. Difficult for goalkeepers to take the sort of capture of the ball, and it's bounced right in front of him off his chest, and Ward-Prowse is on the move.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you say he's got that clanger or that mistake in him. We actually had a guest on last week from Blue Moon podcast, David Mooney, who said exactly that. Edison has got that mistake in him, but maybe Ward-Prowse saw that, maybe Armstrong saw that, but Kyle Walker certainly didn't. But that's it.
And we knew it was always going to be difficult against Man City, so he stuck in, defended deep, for the most part, almost kind of 9 men, 10 men behind the ball, frustrated Man City for most of the game, and to go ahead in the early stages, go into half time thinking, let's not say it too early, lads, but we've got a chance of taking a point or 3 points here.
I don't think anybody would have had a bet on Saints to be 1-0 up at half time, that's for sure. But yeah, and I think, didn't Ralph say at the end of the game that they let the equaliser in a little bit too early? And if we would have held out a little bit longer, then who knows? City panic a little bit more. They're taking shots that they don't necessarily want to be taking, and there's always the danger of a counter attack.
I mean, for that first half, we frustrated them so much that they didn't even manage to put a shot on target.
No, I mean their first shot on target was the goal, I believe, wasn't it?
I mean that comes to sort of around 50, 60 minutes time, and if we highlight that, it's almost. I mean, I've seen it almost as a carbon copy as the goal in the cup game on Tuesday night. It comes off from a sort of drilled shot drilled cross across the box, and I mean, Aguero is a world-class striker, and we cannot afford to give him that much time and space. And all he has to do is kind of drop the shoulder, create 2 yards of space, 2-3 yards of space to step away from the defender, and all he has to do is hit it first time, and it goes in the back of the net. McCarthy's unlucky; it goes through his legs.
Yeah. Very unlucky. You can't blame McCarthy for that. It was close range, but yeah, I mean, I was looking back at that goal again and again and thinking, like, where did it go wrong there? But I mean, Kyle Walker, was it Kyle Walker with the cross? He just a low driven cross across the face of the goal, and found that, as you say, he's a world-class striker. He found the space, but it wasn't a lot there. But as he hit it, it did look like Vestergaard and Stevens were a bit. That's the only criticism of that game. You switch off just like that, and City are going to punish you.
And then for all our kind of sort of concentration, endeavour, if you like, we were so composed for most of the game. It's just those sort of split seconds that sort of changed games. Sergio Aguero is that sort of top class, world class sort of striker, and I guess we were sort of punished to some extent for the second goal as well. McCarthy made some fantastic saves, kept us in the game for most of the afternoon that Saturday. But the ball comes over across from the left-hand wing. McCarthy, we've seen him come out for balls occasionally now this season. He hasn't played many games this season, but he comes out for the ball. He has to get a connection on it, punch it, sort of confidently, but he kind of mishits it. The ball sort of falls to Walker, and all he has to do is hit it for empty net and breaks a heart.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really, really bad for McCarthy because I've been saying for ages that I want him to come in and I really, really want him to have a good performance. And he didn't really have that much to do in terms of like shot blocking because his backline did it all for him. But and he made a few mistakes in the game. I mean, he picked up that back pass, which was really bizarre. I mean, I don't know why he did that. And there was a moment as well when he misjudged a cross, and I think it was John Stones, wasn't it, who headed it over the bar. Warning signs there. He's not very good with crosses. And then, as you say, the goal, the Walker goal. Yeah, he should be getting that. I don't know what he was doing. He just kind of like like palmed it, slapped it, and it was just an easy little tap in for Kyle Walker. Such a shame. It's just, but I mean, you can see it coming. It happens all the time to Saints. But such endeavour to lose it like that is just heartbreaking.
I mean, it was a case of sort of the tomato ketchup sort of analogy, wasn't it? Man City, for all their sort of I haven't got a tomato ketchup bottle to hand, but it was sort of a case of like hitting the top of the ketchup, and suddenly it all sort of spilling out. And they had the chances. Saints defended resiliently. Put all their efforts into defending, keeping them out, and ultimately it does come, and it's sort of 5-6 minutes from time, and they do get the the advantage. But it was a much better performance, as sort of Dave just comments here. Much better performance against Man City, but can see another fight to sort of stay in the Premier League. But we have to take some confidence from this performance, from all the sort of pathetic nature that was the Friday night game.
Of course we do. I mean, but it depends. Like, I mean, how are we going to set up against other teams? Like, are we going to? I mean, you can put men behind the ball all you want against like Liverpool, Man City, and all that, but you need to find the balance against Everton coming up for one, and to be able. So the confidence should be there from that, but you need to just push on and take that and just ride it.
And if we look at the statistics, we are actually only 1 point better off than we were last season.
Okay, yeah, but we got more goals as well than this point last season. I think 10 goals so far this season. It was like 7 at this stage last season, but at this stage last year we didn't concede 27 goals either. So it's early though. It is tight because a couple of wins and you're going to get pushed right back up there again because it's so close. I don't want to panic just yet. Like your listener just said then about another relegation battle. He's probably right, but it is only 11 games. But now we're coming up for like the real meat of the season, and the next 2 months could make or break us. Really could, because I mean, you look at, you got Everton, Arsenal, Watford, Norwich, Newcastle, West Ham, Villa, all those teams coming up. But then, I was fixture watching last year, just like looking at everyone saying, we're going to get 3 points there, going to get 1 there. So I don't want to make that mistake again. I just want to take it 1 game at a time.
Oh, it's a cliche, isn't it, Self Ray?
I know.
But I think we should take confidence into this weekend. A valiant sort of effort at Man City. Not many people would go up to the Etihad and sort of take confidence from a 2-1 defeat. But before we even get to Everton, I want to highlight a couple of things. In fact, I said this in my review at the weekend. If you watched the entire game from start to finish, you saw Pep Guardiola sort of chasing up and down the touchline, trying to chase the ball, pick up the ball, acting as ball boy,
Going out of the technical. Yeah,
absolutely, coming out of his technical area. I don't know why they fought for Fisher or the the referee in the middle of the park didn't warn him to come out of his technical area because it's a Booker-pull offence.
Yes, but it's because it's Man City. That's it. There's only certain teams that get away with that, and they will. They don't want to, send him to the stands or do anything like that. They're too afraid to. In the context of what it could do to the Premier League, they'll just step away from it.
I think they kind of bottled it a little bit, to be honest. They saw it as a, sort of, Man City, Liverpool, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We'll let them off because it's Pep Guardiola.
If Ralph had done that, do you honestly think they would have turned a blind eye?
I don't think they would have done.
No, me neither.
And to be honest, he, this will be an explicit podcast now because it was the ultimate school of shithousery by Pep Guardiola, who Ralph kind of pretended to kind of hold the ball later on in the game to kind of hold, to waste a bit of time, and then Pep sort of gave him the ball, sort of faked him to hold the ball, and then gave it back to his sort of teammates. So you can find that on Twitter, you can find it on the replays, whatever. But it was the ultimate school of shithousery by Pep Guardiola in the end.
I think didn't Ralph say at the end of it that they weren't they normally talk and they're normally quite friendly, but he wasn't that friendly at the end of the game or something like that?
No, you could see Saints were getting under Pep's skin big time.
Oh yeah, you could visibly see. I mean, during the game, he was visibly anxious, and the players were as well. It it's good. It's good to know that you can take the champions and get a reaction out of them like that.
Right, on to the weekend then. So do get your comments in. Tell us your score predictions, lineups, anything you want to ask as well. I know there's a few of you already sort of watching along, listening along. However you are consuming this, I guess this modern phrase, content, whatever. But a win against Everton would leave Saints still in the bottom three, but over the international, it'll at least give us a bit of confidence heading into the Emirates. The weekend after, and Arsenal. Let's not look too far ahead. As you say, take one game at a time, one game at a time.
Yeah,
too many beers.
It's amazing how how close this Premier League table is, and yet a win from us, and we're still not going to leapfrog Everton. But that's just the goal difference, isn't it? I believe. So, but yeah, as you say, one match at a time. Just take care of business with Everton. Take the confidence that we've got from that. And Arsenal, they're not Arsenal right now, are they? They, I don't know what's going on with Granit Xhaka, but and I think they drew tonight. But yeah, I mean, we could take them as well.
It's an Everton team that are vulnerable. I think their record at St Mary's is equally as bad as we have at Goodison.
Well, yeah, I mean, last season at Goodison they won 2-1, and then at St Mary's we won 2-1. But I think we were more comfortable in that home game than the 2-1 suggests. I think wasn't it Sigurdsson that grabbed a really, really late consolation goal. Yeah, I mean, they're there for the taking, right? Especially with Andre Gomes at the moment. We don't know how that's going to affect them. And they're 17th at the moment. They shouldn't be down there. It's a weird one. Everton, yeah, it's a weird one to gauge.
This is an Everton team that has spent millions, over 150 million over the last 2 years, whilst Marco Silva has been in charge, and they've backed him to sort of push them up the table. But this is the sort of game that we sort of thought maybe if Everton had lost at home at the weekend, Marco Silva may not have been in a job and may not have been in the dugout at St Mary's this weekend.
Marco Silva's a funny one for me, because when I was doing my preview on Everton for our show last week, I was chatting to some guys from the Unholy Trinity podcast, and so I wanted to know what they thought about Marco Silva, like neutrals do. Gave me a bit of insight, and they said it's actually quite a similar situation to what Ralph had at Saints. It's because when he arrived, they both needed time to undo the mistakes of their predecessors. I'm going to include Ronald Koeman's Everton reign in that, because he spent a bomb, and I think he took them in the relegation zone at one point. They had nothing to show for it, but I think they're backing Silva. A lot of the fans do, and it looks like the players want to play for him as well. More importantly, but yeah, so everyone seems to be behind Marco Silva, which is a weird one, because a lot of neutrals just think he's probably one game away from getting the sack.
Well, I mean, it probably would have been the usual case that a team would have sacked off their manager and then go down to play Saints at St Mary's, But I mean, Liam comes up with a good comment here, actually. I want to extend on it. He says Saints will have to get something from this game no matter what. And I want to extend on that a little bit. This sort of next run of home games are critical for Saints. We haven't won a home game so far this season.
I haven't won a home game since April, I believe. Wolves. That was the Wolves game, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, he's right. Is it Liam? Yeah. They are going to have to get something out of this game. And I think, it does start from Saturday. Like you say, you need to build on that momentum from from last week from the City game. You don't want to look back, come May and think, no, those were the games, because Everton down the bottom of the table at that point, playing at home. You need to make St Mary's a fortress, if it's possible.
Well, it hasn't been that at all so far this season. And I mean, you mentioned sort of Andre Gomes just a moment ago, and horrific sort of injury. Yeah. And we wish him all the best to Andre Gomes, etc.
Yeah, speedy recovery.
Absolutely. But I think it could be a case that the Everton sort of teammates could be buoyed. Do you think they'll be buoyed by his injury, sort of to play for Andre? Yeah. Let's get a result for him, sort of thing.
They could be. I mean, they could look at it like that and think, right, you always see it. You see it before. I think it's happened many times when players have been injured before. They've had T-shirts underneath. They've scored a goal. They've ripped the T-shirt off, and it's like for him and all that. They could be like that, but then it could affect players differently. I know if you saw it, you saw what happened with Son when he saw what had happened, and you could see that he was just like a lot of the Everton players were as well. So I mean, I don't know. It could affect him in a negative way for them. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, it could be quite a difficult game at the weekend. I don't want to say it's too early to call this a 6-pointer, and it's too early to call this a must-win.
I think I did on our podcast. I said, "This is it."
What are you doing?
I know. I am quite a negative or pessimistic person anyway. But I did think, in and around. I mean, like I said, I try not to fixture watch. I look at all the fixtures and I think, we can get something out of that. We can get something out of that. And I did. I saw this and thought Everton are, they're not playing well at the moment. They're 17th. They look like they're struggling. They've got one of their most important players that's going to be out for the rest of the season. Let's take them. Let's go for it. We need to push. We need to go for it.
I think you got a point there, actually. I mean, the next sort of 6 games up until sort of Christmas, apart from Arsenal, even though they are, as you say, sort of a bit vulnerable at the moment, but Everton at home, Watford at home, Norwich. I think we should be looking at least 6 points in these next 3 home games.
In those home games, I think we can win all of them. Well, maybe not win all of them. We can avoid defeat on all of them until the new year. That we have to do. But I have a sneaky feeling that we're going to get beat by Watford. Like I said, I'm a pessimistic fan, and I just think that's going to be their first win. You can see it. It's going to be 1-0 Watford. That one.
Well, let's hope we don't embarrass ourselves in front of the TV cameras again for the end of at the end of the month for the Watford game, and hopefully our November mustaches will be matured by then, and hopefully those that are watching and listening along can donate to the cause. It is mobro.co/theuglyInside, and you can donate to team if you must as well. But there are a couple of comments here. I'm going to start off some predictions, actually. Brad the Lads, good to see you once again. 1-0 to Southampton. Ings to score. Marina with 2-1 to the Saints for the Everton game. And, feeling positive. The positive vibes are contagious in the comments. Abdub with a 3-2 Southampton win. Love that. I think a win by any means necessary. But, this is a game that we have to approach completely differently to Man City.
Absolutely, we do, and there's no way that Saints are scoring 3 goals at home. By the way, and I don't think Everton have got 2 goals in them either. But we do have to approach it differently. Like I said, but if we can find that balance, if we can find that, that resilience, that shape that we had against City, and also we need to find a way to get the midfield involved. We need to get Redmond involved, and we need to get Ings involved, and with Genepo possibly coming back in. Who knows? I mean, we do. Yeah. To say, we need to get that balance. We need to get the defence and the attack sorted, and we cannot afford to sit back because that's going to have 0-0 written all over it. Because Everton don't have the quality that City do. No disrespect, but they don't. And if we just sit back like that, it is just going to be a 0-0 game.
Well, to be honest, a 0-0 at home wouldn't be so far removed from a sort of an advance on some of our form at the moment. I mean, if we do go 0-0, it's a sort of 7th game without a win. But these are the sorts of games that we need to approach with positivity. We need to sort of target these games as an opportunity to move up the table, close the gap. I mean, it is too soon to start talking about that R word, but these are the sort of bread and butter that we need to kind of get out of the way sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but I mean, Everton are going to be looking at us the same way. They're going to be thinking, right, they need to push out their season, and I think that they're still in the Carabao Cup in the quarterfinals stage, so they're going to be looking at us and thinking, right, if we get 3 points against them, we're going to get a 6-point gap, and we can push on our season, and they can still get up. And they do have some players that can hurt us. I mean, Walcott probably will, won't he? If that's a given.
Sigurdsson loves scoring against Saints as well.
Sigurdsson's not been playing a lot lately. He's his form's been dipping. But I'm worried about Lucas Digne, the left back, because I saw a stat this week that actually he has like the second most crosses in the Premier League. So I think Valerie's going to need to be on his game. And I don't like, I mean, if you listen to our podcast, like every single week I say about how we can't defend crosses, and it's a recipe for disaster, that one. So Valerie needs to, I mean, isn't Cedric back at training this week as well? So we need to get him back soon.
I mean, that goes back to the comment, JB Saints, good to see you on the stream. I know it was a little earlier, about 15 minutes ago, but, is Cedric back for this game, he asks. And I think if he is back, I think he has to play kind of left back. This is the last game of Bertrand's suspension.
Yeah. I think Cedric, he was back in training today, I believe. So I don't think he's going to be ready, but he'll probably make the best.
So, I mean, how do you approach this then? Do you go 5 at the back or go to a 4 at the back, sort of a 4-4-2, etc.? I mean, I've been saying this for the last few days to colleagues, to friends, etc. This is a got to win game, not a must win game. It's too early to say that. I think, got to win this game, got to target the home form.
I think personally he will play 3 centre halves again and the wing backs. I think that's what he's going to do because it worked again. Well, I think it almost worked against City, and like I said, Everton don't have that quality. But I don't know how they're going to. I mean, I'm expecting Genepo to come in for Armstrong. So whether that changes the shape of the midfield, maybe they can do a diamond in the midfield, maybe have one holding. But I expect Højbjerg to be playing again at wing back, and then maybe bring Genepo in. So play that 5 or the 3 at the back, but we need to be able to get that ball in the middle of the park and not sit back. I mean, I don't know whether they're going to just go, straight at them from the whistle, get the goal like we did against City, and then sit back. Because, like I said, Everton don't have that quality at the moment. They don't have the confidence at the moment. So that's probably how I would approach it.
So talk me through it then. Send me your lineups in the comments as well. Send me your sort of team lineups 1 to 11. I would start off again with McCarthy. I think it's about time sort of Angus Gunn sort of stays away from the sort of pressure, and this could be a chance for McCarthy to have an extended period and run in the first 11. How would you play this? 3 at the back, 4 at the back. Talk me through it.
It's going to be the same. It's going to be exactly the same. It's going to be McCarthy. It's going to be Valerie, right wing back. It's going to be Højbjerg, left wing back. It's going to be Bednarek, Stevens in the heart of the defence, and Vestergaard. He's going to play Romeu, Genepo, Ward-Prowse, Redmond, Ings.
Okay, all right. I mean, Genepo from the start. So that'd be one change kind of from the Man City.
Yeah, for Armstrong.
Okay, Armstrong for his endeavour, for all of his opportunities created in the middle of the park as well. Neil says Valerie needs to work on his concentration whilst defending, and I think I want to highlight that as well. Actually, good comment, Neil. Thanks for coming by. I mean, I was watching the stream. Not that I support illegal watching of any kind of product, company, whatever. But I think Valerie looked garbage on the weekend. I'll be honest. He was missing almost every cross. He looked a bit lost. Missing every sort of aerial duel, and I mean, we got away with it to some extent at 2-1. But we hope that he gets forward a little bit further for the Everton game.
Yeah, I mean, I think he will. Concentration. We're talking about Valerie still, yeah?
Valerie.
Yeah. He was terrible in that Leicester game. Let's be honest, he was awful. Didn't he play at left back and right back? Then they swap it around a little bit when Bertrand got back, and I think he actually got an assist for one of their goals as well. I don't know where I stand with him at the moment, to be honest, because last season he was great. I thought he was going to be it, and then Cedric, we forgot about him. He come back. Cedric, he has been playing well since he come back, and then he's got injured. I think it is going to be as soon as Cedric is ready, then Valery goes. He's on the bench.
I mean, Cedric's come back this season with a new attitude, a new sort of approach. He wants to play for the team, and for all of kind of Valery's inexperience, Cedric has looked like the first name on the team sheet in terms of that right back position this season.
Yeah, and I would agree with it. I mean, I don't even know what his injury was. It was a bit of a weird one, wasn't it, when he went out? And I didn't know he was going to be out for this long. But it is a plea. I mean, I've read some of the comments today when they've seen him in training, and there's a lot of people that are backing Cedric to come straight back into that team as well. Do feel a little bit sorry for Valery. He's had a couple of bad performances, but I think we do need to give that permanent role to Cedric.
So to talk you through it then, do also send us your lineups in the comments. McCarthy and goal then, Ray. Let's assume Cedric is fit, right back, right wing back. Stevens, Bednarek and Vestergaard in the centre of defence. Are you saying that Højbjerg should retain his place at left wing back?
Yes, I think he will. I think that's what Ralph will do. I've got no reason to think otherwise because he had a good game against City. He didn't look out of position, so why change what's broken? If it's not broken, there's no need to change it. And as I say, I think the only change that he's going to do is bring Djenepo on straight from the start.
And we will replace Djenepo with Armstrong, with Romeo and Ward-Prowse holding that midfield, and Ings and Redmond up front.
Sorry, can you repeat that? The stream's cracking up.
Yes. Djenepo replacing Armstrong with Romeo and Ward-Prowse holding midfield, and Redmond and Ings up front.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go then. This weekend, critical to win. I think we need to get sort of 3 points. Do quickly get in your score predictions before we wrap up the live stream for tonight and on the podcast, etc. So I want to see your score predictions. We've seen some earlier on from Brad, from Marina, from Abdub. But Ray, sign us off with a score prediction. And what do you think it'll be?
My gut is telling me 1-1, but I mean we're gonna concede because we always do, and it's probably going to be Walcott. But yeah, I mean, like Ralph said, we got like 3 clean sheets in 33 games under Ralph, which is terrible. But if we can keep defending like we did again, if we bring in Djenepo, we can get Redmond and Ings involved a little bit more. Then yes, we can do it. So I'm going to be a little bit positive here, and I'm going to say 2-1 Saints.
Does that contradict your prediction on your podcast this week?
I can't remember. I think I went 2-1, actually. I think I did. I don't know. I mean, every day it changes. Right now, I'm going 2-1 Saints.
I think the closer we get to match day, I think the more confident we become, right?
Let's hope, yeah.
Okay, so one final one, I guess, sort of from the stream. A little bit of an extra bonus here. I mean, there's a lot of sort of chat around social media now, sort of whether it's an advantage or a disadvantage or a positive, negative, etc. Sort of thing. We kind of follow this group on Twitter. Jem has come up with a comment. Opinions on the committee on Saints fans come across on social media. I think, to be honest, everybody has the right to their own opinion. Everybody has a right to their own sort of match day routines. I think do as you will, and I think everything needs to be looked at tongue in cheek.
Yeah, especially on Twitter. But I mean, yeah, like you say, everyone's got their own opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but I mean, we get a lot of messages that disagree with us. Fine, it doesn't bother me either way. I've got mine. Kev's got his. You just on, but too bad. I mean, there are the occasional Saints fans that just fear relegation all the time. I've got a few friends that just whoever they're playing, home or away, they're always going to lose. And then I've always found that the Saints fans seem to be really, really optimistic. Like generally, from where I am, and I'm always called the pessimistic one.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Jim, if you're still watching along, listening along, I think you need to sort of, take it with a bit of tongue in cheek, a bit of salt with every sort of comment, especially that sort of Twitter page. And I think we need to sort of unite with a bit of positivity, unite with a common cause. I think if you look back at the early '90s, we sort of all for protesting against the management, Ian Branfoot, as Matt Letizia would say, Ian fucking Branfoot. That's his official middle name. And
Yeah.
but get behind the lads in the in the 90 minutes and sort of have your arguments, have whatever off field, get behind the team. But I think I would agree with your sort of prediction here, Ray. Saints 2, Everton 1. That is my prediction for the weekend, and that's on my Super 6 too.
I think I put my Super 6 as well. No, actually, I don't even know. I think I went 1-1 on my Super 6. Just contradicting myself all over the place here.
Right. On that note, then, a little bit of positivity. So it creeps upon us every now and then. I think we've got to put that Leicester game to bed, although it will always hang behind us as the kind of worst defeat in Premier League history, etc. We do have a problem playing at home,
Probably
Dave,
the bit.
You're breaking up there just a moment, Ray.
Yeah, I said it's probably the beer that's giving me all this this positive talk.
It's a Wednesday, it's a school night, but Dave, yes, I do agree with your opinion. I do feel we do have a problem at home, and this is the weekend I think we could sort of rectify a little bit of that, at least get a positive result. I think we're going to go with a 2-1 victory here. But as you say, Everton will always come to score. But this is the sort of time that we need to kind of capitalize before Christmas, get some points on the board. So on that note, then, Ray, in that podcast, tell us where we can find you.
Sorry, the stream's breaking up a little bit there.
Before we go, Ray, tell us where we can find you in that number podcast.
Oh, okay. So, you can find, we record every Sunday and we put a show up Sunday evening. You can find us on Twitter at Number Podcast. You can email us in that number podcast at gmail.com. And get in touch, email us, and we're always going to reply. Whatever your opinion is, it's welcome.
And it's very sweary from sort of Kev's end, the Russian swears, the Russian phrases. Ray, good to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Freddie. I have to do it again sometime.
And there we go. Thanks so much for joining us on the live feed, and we will speak to you very soon at the weekend. Do tune in for our fan reactions, and up the Saints.
Up the Saints.